So in today's class, we are going to study the classification of algae, isn't it? So in the last two classes we gone through, in the first class the classification systems, in the second class we gone through certain general characters of the algae as well as the benefits or the uses of the algae. So here the classification, the division algae is classified into three major classes. Okay, algae ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು division in the next ಬರೋದು class. So the first class is called as Chlorophyceae, the second one is called as Phaeophyceae, third class is called as the Rhodophyceae. Okay, so the common name for Chlorophyceae is called as green algae, common name. Phaeophyceae, it is called as a brown algae. Rhodophyceae, red algae. Okay, so the first one Chlorophyceae, or common name it is green algae. So the Chlorophyceae, the green algae, they may be unicellular, okay, they may be colonial, they may be filamentous. That means the body form in case of green algae, it varies from unicellular to filamentous, that is multicellular. These are usually grass green due to the pigments like chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. The green color of the Chlorophyceae is due to the presence of photosynthetic pigment, that is chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Okay, these chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B pigments are present in the chloroplast. Okay, the chloroplast structure varies. The structure of the chloroplast varies, like discoid, plate-like, reticulate, cup-shaped, spiral or ribbon-shaped in different species. Okay, the structure of the chloroplast varies among different Chlorophyceae. These they have one or more pyrenoids, that means the storage bodies located in the chloroplast. The green algae are having certain stored food molecules in them. Where they are present? They are present within the chloroplast, and those storage food molecules or storage bodies are called as pyrenoids. These pyrenoids, what they are containing? They contain protein and starch. Okay, protein and starch together form the pyrenoid. We call them as pyrenoid, and they are present within the chloroplast, which act as a reserve food material. Some algae, they can also store food as oil droplets. So along with the starch as well as the protein, some algae, they can also store the oil droplets, that means the fat bodies. The green algae, they are having rigid cell wall. The inner cell wall is made up of cellulose and the outer layer is made up of pectose. Okay, the major component of the cell wall is cellulose, but that cell wall, that cellulose cell wall is surrounded by the pectose layer. Both cellulose and pectose both are carbohydrates. Okay, certain examples we can have for green algae: Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Ulothrix, Spirogyra and Chara. So the starting three, Chlamydomonas, Volvox and Ulothrix, their picture you have observed in last class. Okay, so these five are the examples for green algae. Reproduction in case of green algae, how they are going to reproduce? Like vegetative, asexual, sexual. Okay, vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation or by formation of different types of spores. Okay, fragmentation vegetative reproduction andre gottide, only in case of the organisms which are filamentous in structure, they can show the fragmentation type of reproduction. Asexual type of reproduction is by flagellated zoospores produced in case of zoosporangia. So asexual reproduction is by production of the spores, we already know that, but that is also by flagellated zoospore, the special type of spores which are possessing the flagella. So if the flagella are present, they must be showing the locomotion. Those zoospores are produced within a special type of structure called as zoosporangia. Okay, sporangia, it is producing the spores, common spores. Zoosporangia is producing zoospores. Okay, next the third type of reproduction is sexual type of reproduction. The sexual type of reproduction is by all the three types, that is isogamous, anisogamous as well as oogamous type. Meaning of isogamous type, anisogamous as well as the oogamous type you already know. ಏನು ಐಸೋಗ್ಯಾಮಸ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಅಂದರೆ fusion of two gametes, male and female gametes, which are similar in shape and size, isn't it? Anisogamous andre fusion of male and female gametes which are dissimilar in shape and size. Oogamous means the female gamete is larger in size, it is static, non-motile, while the male gamete is smaller in size, it is possessing the flagella, that means it is movable. Second class in case of algae, it is Phaeophyceae. Common name is called as brown algae. Brown algae name alle gottagtade namge, the algae body is brown in color. Okay, these Phaeophyceae are found in marine habitats. Marine means they are present in the ocean or salt water. Their thallus may be simple branched, filamentous forms, or sometimes profusely branched. That means we are not going to observe any microscopic brown algae. They may be simple, that means multicellular, filamentous, that means their body is thread-like, example Ectocarpus, or they may be profusely branched like the giant algae, example kelps. It's a picture we observed in the last class, isn't it? The pigments that are commonly present in the brown algae, they are chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, carotenoids, and xanthophyll. So the important pigment in case of the Phaeophyceae or the brown algae is the type of xanthophyll that is present within it. The thallus having a different color from olive green to brown depending upon the amount of xanthophyll. Example, it is fucoxanthin present in them. Okay, fucoxanthin is the major pigment that is present in the brown algae or the Phaeophyceae, which belongs to the group called as xanthophyll. Based on the amount of xanthophyll present based on the amount of fucoxanthin present within the algae, the color of the Phaeophyceae varies, that is from olive green to brown. Okay, they have laminarin or mannitol as a stored bodies. Like in case of green algae or chlorophyceae, we got pyrenoids which were having protein and starch as a storage food molecule, but in case of brown algae it is called as laminarin, or else we can another one is the mannitol. And these laminarin and mannitol, they are commonly complex carbohydrates. Okay, but pyrenoid was a mixture of carbohydrate plus protein. And here the cell wall of the brown algae, especially the vegetative cells, they are covered outside by a gelatinous coating called as algin. Remember in last class while we are studying the benefits of algae, this word we already heard, that is the algin. Yaudadu algin andre? Algin, it is a hydrocolloid. Okay, it's a water holding substance. It commonly present around the cell wall. Cell wall mele deposit agirtade. It is gelatinous. Okay, and the protoplast in case of the brown algae, they are commonly consisting the plastids, central vacuole and nucleus. The cytoplasm in case of plants as well as algae, we call it as protoplast. Plant body here, the plant body means the algae body, it is attached to substratum by a hold fast and has a stalk, it is called as stipe, and leaf like photosynthetic organ called as frond. So we are having its a picture here. It is the plant body. Okay, example is laminaria, and here it is erect in shape, and this plant body is attached with any substratum. That substratum may be majority times these brown algae are marine in habitat. They may be present on the floor of the ocean. Okay, on the substratum they are present by having hold fast. The hold fast is helping for the brown algae to hold the substratum to present in the same place. And a stipe is present. This stipe is acting as a stalk for the body. That means this stipe is giving the mechanical support. And the upper expanded part is called as a frond. This frond is the major site of photosynthesis. What it means? This frond is possessing the photosynthetic pigments as well as the xanthophyll, that is the fucoxanthin pigments. Certain examples we are having here. ectocarpus, dictyota, laminaria, sargassum, as well as the fucus. Okay, so the picture of laminaria here we are having fucus. The fucus is also erect in shape. The holdfast is also present, stipe is also present here, but the special character of the fucus is the presence of the air bladder. The presence of air bladder we can observe in case of the brown algae. So what is the function of air bladder? Air bladder is giving the buoyancy nature to the plant body. What is buoyancy? Buoyancy andre enu? Due to presence of the air bladder, those organisms they can be float on the surface of the water. Okay, like this one is the dictyota, where the plant body is somewhat profusely branched compared to this one fucus. Okay, laminaria is not branched. Compared to that, fucus is limitedly branched. Compared to fucus, again dictyota is multiple times branched. Okay, so that front is branched here. So next one, the reproduction in case of brown algae. How these brown algae are going to reproduce? The same type whatever we have studied in the previous class, that is the green algae, the same type we are observing. Vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation. It's a meaning we already know. Asexual reproduction, it is very important. Here it is by pear-shaped biflagellated zoospores. That means they are having two unequal laterally attached flagella. Pear-shaped biflagellate zoospore. What is pear-shaped? Its picture we are having here. It is a single spore, but the upper part is somewhat constricted. It is smaller in size, and the basal portion is somewhat swelling. And we can have two flagella, okay, which are laterally attached. Lateral position. What do you mean by lateral position? Lateral position andre enu? For example, we are having our hands in the lateral position of our body. One is left side, another one is right side. Like that, the flagella are also, they are unequally, that means their size is unequal. One is shorter, one is smaller, but they are present in lateral position. The sexual type of reproduction here, it is by isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous type. Okay, its meaning we already know. And union of gametes occur in water or within the oogonium. In water only, because almost all brown algae are marine habitat. That means they are always aquatic in nature. That's why they must and should require the medium for the fusion of male and female gamete, that is the water. And the oogonium, that means within the oogonium, the union, that means the egg cell is produced within the oogonium. It is static and the male gamete is motile. It will come and fuse with the egg cell within the oogonium. That means oogamous species, oogamous type of sexual reproduction. And the gametes are also pear-shaped. The pear-shaped, it is also having another word called as pyriform, bearing two laterally attached flagella. The same one, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ pear shape ಅಂತಾನೂ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, pyriform ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. So that asexual zoospores are also pyriform. The sexual type of organisms which are possessing the gametes, they are also pyriform. The major peculiar character of the brown algae is production of pyriform or pear-shaped zoospores as well as pyriform gametes. Next, the third class is Rhodophyceae. Common word is red algae. Okay, in the name only we can get it. That is, the algal body is red in color. Majority of the red algae are especially present in marine as well as in case of the warmer areas where the temperature is somewhat optimum, not too much low, not too much high. They occur in both well lighted regions close to the surface. Okay, that means they are not present in depth of the ocean, but they are present on the surface of the ocean of water and at great depth in oceans where relatively little light penetrates. So they are not only present on the surface of water, sometimes those red algae, they can also be present little bit the depth, but the sunlight must and should reach it. The red thalli of the most of the red algae are multicellular. This is one more important character of the red algae. Their thallus, majority times it is multicellular. Some of them have complex body organization. So here we can observe the evolution from green algae to brown algae to red algae. The body organization goes on increasing. That means it goes on making complex. They have red pigment that particular red pigment is called as R-phycoerythrin. Okay, the particular pigment that is responsible for the red color of the rhodophyceae is R-phycoerythrin. In case of red algae, the food is stored as a Floridian starch, which is very similar to amylopectin and glycogen in case of structure. So amylopectin as well as glycogen, both are carbohydrate, but this R-phycoerythrin is nothing but alcohol containing sugar. Okay, sugar plus alcohol. Example: Polycyponia, Porphyra, Gracilaria and Gelidium. So here the Gracilaria and Gelidium, these two names we heard in the last class, that is during the study of benefits of the algae. Those two are the source of a important product called as agar. So their picture here we are having, it is the picture of Porphyra. So the thallus is somewhat expanded and only frond we can observe, and the Polycyphonia, somewhat it is multiple branched. The branches we can also observe, main axis is also present. Understood? The next one, the reproduction in case of the red algae. Again the same types of steps we are getting: vegetative, asexual, sexual, all the types are present. The vegetative reproduction is by the fragmentation. It is common in all the three types of classes. Asexual reproduction is by non-motile spores. This is very important. The asexual reproduction in case of red algae is by the production of non-motile spores. But while in case of green algae as well as brown algae, it was by zoospores. That means they were motile. Here these are non-motile. Sexual type of reproduction is only by oogamous type. We cannot observe isogamous and anisogamous. Only oogamous type. When the oogamous type of sexual reproduction is occurring, they may be, it must be, the female gamete must be non-motile and the male gamete must be motile. And it has complex post-fertilization developments. As we know, the red algae is a highly evolved form of in the algae group. Okay, so it is having the post-fertilization development. That means zygote into embryo, embryo into the main organism. It is having certain complex developmental steps. So these are the things regarding the three different classes of algae. So remaining things we will study in next class.